jokes.
Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
Hopefully you've survived the eclipse and the earthquake if you're in the tri-state area. We've had quite a natural situation couple of days.
It's been a couple of days here, yeah.
Been a couple of days. So yeah, we recorded this on Monday. On Friday, we had an earthquake, 4.7-ish. Centered in New Jersey.
People in California are laughing at your earthquake.
They are laughing.
They are.
Because supposedly we had one like 10 years ago. I don't remember that at all.
That one I do remember.
But what was funny was, like, I felt it, obviously. Not obviously because I'm telling you about it. And then I was surprised that Barry felt it because we heard it was in New Jersey. And then Todd and I were texting back and forth later that night, and he felt the aftershock.
The aftershock.
Yeah. Well, I was in
a minute between when you got the aftershock and when I got the aftershock, and which is just kind of cool. And
I was in this room because I was working, and I have display cases all around, and I looked over, and my figures were literally bouncing in the display case, and the glass in the doors was rattling. It was pretty. I noticed it. It was because my son 2 floors up from me was awake and said he didn't feel it. I felt like the whole house was shaking down here.
I was in a basement room with 4 3D printers running and a laser cutter running, and I heard and felt nothing. And people came in. Did you feel that? Did you feel that? I was like. No. And so,
I was up on the second floor. I was actually doing brain surgery at the time.
Yeah.
And thankfully I didn't have the scalpel in the brain at the time.
You weren't using the cranial screw top method? Come on.
No. He was actually honing the laser at that precise moment.
Laser.
I was attaching the whatever things to the nerve endings like in Spock's brain.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Exactly.
That's what I was doing.
Next time, just use that Lucite helmet with the pole sticking out of it.
Well, he didn't get that in the auction, so we had to go ahead the old school method.
None of us won.
I was actually using the Stanley Tully, the colander from Ghostbusters, and it wasn't doing the same thing because I do have one of those. But anyway, so hopefully if you had it, you're fine. And if you saw the eclipse, I hope no one's blind. I was in Manhattan, and there was tons of people out on the street looking at it. I made sure I put my wallet in my front pocket pants because perfect time to be.
Oh yeah,
that's right. When you're staring up in the sky.
Yeah. We were here at the house and in the backyard, and we even protected the dog's eyes. We put some glasses on the dog. It was very cute.
Here in Western Massachusetts, it is like there's this constant stream on the highway of people coming back from north. It's just you just don't see traffic here.
Oh, really?
And the traffic density is up by like 85% because so many people. It's amazing that like Vermont didn't sink or something.
Well, and where my son Joey goes to college, they were in the 100% perfect spot. So. He told me it was overcast the whole day, but just as it got to totality, the clouds parted. He said it was actually kind of weird.
Yep.
So,
Barry, I like the picture of the dog wearing the glasses, but what are the likelihood that the dog would choose randomly at that moment to look at the sun?
I explained that to my son when he was putting them on him. I'm like, he doesn't know not to look at the sun anytime. So this is no different.
I know that's the thing. It's always like. I think if you're looking at the sun, it's more intense with an eclipse for some reason. I don't know, but don't look at the sun anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, hopefully everyone's fine with that. All right, today we're going to wrap up Three Body Problem. I finished it. Those guys had finished it, but they're going to be spoilers. So listen, if you haven't seen it,
we're a few weeks in at this point from when it debuted, so it's fair game.
And then we're going to talk about the first couple of episodes of Star Trek Discovery Season 5. That's spoiled already, so don't worry about it.
That was spoiled in Season 2.
Yeah,
no. Whoa, back up. Okay, Season 2 was the high spot of that entire series.
But I guess that's true. Season 1 was rough.
Season 1 was rough.
Yep.
Those Klingons. I'm still not over those Klingons.
Again with the Klingons.
A lot of Klingons. Anyway, so we got all that good stuff for you. Okay. Let's go random. I have a feeling I know what each of you has.
Probably not.
Todd goes first.
Okay. So, pictures just posted, I guess, over the weekend of Ayet Zur on the set of
Ding, 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 ding.
Was that it?
I knew you were going to talk about the Daredevil.
I'm going to talk about Daredevil one way or another.
There's
anyway,
a lot to
which
talk
basically
about
means,
Daredevil.
So she was Vanessa Fisk. They replaced her with another actress because she was supposedly unavailable, or wasn't going to be available at the right time. This, I think, is the last checkbox for undoing everything that they didn't do that people wanted them to do with the show. They brought Foggy and Karen back. They get the original Vanessa Fisk, and according to the stunt coordinator, they have wrapped filming. So
ding, ding, ding.
They even brought Kristen Ritter back as Jessica Jones.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Everybody's back.
This is
Isn't she dead? Didn't she die?
No, she did not.
No, you're thinking of Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. No.
So if that's
Didn't
right,
she,
yeah.
Didn't she throw up in her own mouth?
Didn't she aspirate her own vomit? And yes. While Walter White watched. Yes.
Spoilers, by the way.
Yeah. So this may be the only really good thing that comes out of the entire writer's strike. The fact that they had time to shuffle the schedule,
We'll see
retool,
about that.
and pretty much completely redo this series, because nobody at this point believes this was reshoots. Now
they said they were starting over. They didn't even make believe
there
it was
were
reshoots.
people that hedged that, but I would say pretty much, there's probably some shot stuff they used, but yeah, this hopefully, like I said, this is going to be amazing, and we only have to wait until just slightly into next year for it. So,
okay, Barry, what do you got?
I was really surprised by this. According to the Hollywood Reporter, Julia Garner is going to be Silver Surfer in the Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, I saw that.
Sort
Is she doing the voice?
No, there is a female Silver Surfer,
his girlfriend,
character,
Shia
yes.
LaBeoul or whatever.
Yes, and so they're basically going to reverse it and have her appear before he does. So, or maybe he never appears at all. But I'm saying, yeah. So,
okay, well,
interesting.
I like her.
I like her a lot. Could not have pictured that.
Would not have. Yeah, this is
I
not
will say
a.
She has kind of an odd look to her, and I think if you get rid of the hair, she could look alien.
I don't remember what that girl looks like.
She's the girl from
what that character looks like.
She's the character.
No,
yeah.
I'm saying what the character looks like.
I was going to say, come on, she was in Ozark.
In Ozark, yeah.
Yeah. So that will be interesting, but
yeah,
very odd casting to come out with like that. Yeah,
seemed like it. Although, who knows? I don't know how big of a role this female Silver Surfer is going to have, but maybe it's a bit part. Who knows?
Well, here's the other thing.
Well, will she be silver with just trashy curly hair? Or
what was the first thing you thought of when you thought of? I mean, I actually my mind kind of went to remember the Bad series with the Raised by Wolves.
Oh God,
she was very. Remember when she was like,
that.
it was like very kind of female Silver Surfery when she was in that mode. And I was thinking of that, and I'm like, yeah, they got to do better than this.
We'll see.
Interesting. Though, curiously, the Silver Surfer is the Herald of Galactus. So,
Yeah.
right.
Does that mean they're going in that direction, or we're teasing going in that direction?
I think over time they have to go in that direction, but I don't know if they'll do it in the first movie.
I think it'll be like I think that'll be what it is. At the end, we're going to be like, I need some planets to munch on.
Yeah.
Makes sense. If they were smart, that's what they'd be like. Everybody all in. We got to kill it. We got to get this guy.
Yeah. Yep. And you don't get bigger and badder than Galactics. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we thought Thanos was a badass,
Yeah.
Galactus is even
This
better.
guy eats Thanos for lunch.
Yeah.
Maybe breakfast. perhaps a snack.
I don't know how they have they defeated him in comics. Obviously, they have. How do they do it?
More like dissuade him. It's just like yeah. So I kind of wish they hadn't just gone down the route they did with the Internals, because we've seen big giant.
Yeah. We can all forget
Celestials that. And stuff already.
People will have forgotten it. Trust me.
Yeah, it's probably true too. So
we'll see.
Maybe he's coming back to Earth to see what happened to his nephew, who was like
sticking out of the
yeah.
Maybe. I read a headline, and then I read the article, and it had something even more interesting in it. So anyway, James Cameron's been talking about remaking Fantastic Voyage.
Yeah.
He now says they're very close to it. Not that I don't think that's a movie you can't remake. I think it's a cool concept, and if there's anyone who could do it, he's the guy. All the underwater technology and all that stuff. So I think that would be very cool.
Would he be making that in between all of his Avatar movies, or is he waiting until after?
So. I hope
because he's got 20 more years of Avatar to go.
Do it before. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be after. But he had said that there's an art exhibit in Paris at the Cinematique, some bullshit, whatever, that has all his original art from movies. And I guess I see it sometimes. I don't remember, but he's quite the artist.
Yeah.
I guess it's in the making of book.
Yep.
But that would be really cool to see, and the original art from Aliens and stuff, and different stuff. But I wonder if it's going to get anywhere else other than Paris. But that would be interesting. And he actually drew the Kate Winslet sketch in Titanic. He actually drew that.
I remember that now. Yeah. Yep.
That's cool. Good for him.
I wonder how long that exhibit's going to be there, because I might be there this summer, so I'd have to go look for it.
Yeah, I don't know. That article should be. I read it today in Hollywood Reporter, so it's out there, or Variety, one or the other. But Fantastic Voyage would be cool to remake.
That movie definitely. I mean, the version that's out there feels really super dated when you watch it now, but a remade version of that could be great.
Yeah, I think that could be cool. Anyone have something else? I had something else.
I've got a couple of Star Wars things I could go rapid fire.
That's why I figured you were going first.
So,
go ahead.
Real quick, there's not much to this. We have a date for the Mandalorian and Grogu
ding,
movie.
Ding, 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 ding.
May 22nd, 2026.
Yes.
There's no way to make that a May the 4th release? Why May 22nd?
I don't know. That's weird.
Feels weird, right?
Well, the May the 4th has never been a movie release date. That's sort of, it's been those 20s.
No, I know. 20th, and I know that's close, but it's not the date. So if it's not the date, why not make it the other date? I don't know.
But, and the article I just read said it's going to pick up in the aftermath of season 3. So we're not seeing Mando for another 2 years?
So I haven't read that anywhere officially. I've been waiting for something official coming from, either Filoni or Favreau, but I guess we'll see. I find that,
this is your hottest property, I'd say, right?
Yeah, it's going to take a rest until
for 3. When's the last time it was on? Was it on
a year ago?
I would not assume that. This is a character, not a series. So they've got other things going on.
We're going to have a chance to see him.
I would bet he is going to show up in other things before that movie.
What other things?
The only thing he could potentially show up in is Skeleton Crew.
Not a second season of Ahsoka?
I don't think we'll see that before May 26th.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think we'll see that before.
It's April 24, and they're not even in pre-production on it.
And they are heading into pre-production for the movie. Yeah, you cannot go 3 years. That would be foolish.
So unless he shows up in Skeleton Crew, which takes place in the same time period, I don't see him showing up anywhere.
But freaking Grogu, kids are going to grow out of caring about Grogu and all the Christmases.
Well, and we were not sure that this was actually the next movie we were going to see on the screen, but I don't see how anything could be ready and released before that.
Well, that sounds like that Ray movie is...
It sounds like they're still looking for a script for that movie.
Are they?
Yes.
And they just... The Andor writer is working on the
I was just going to... That was one of my other ones. So the Hollywood Reporter said that Beau Willimon, who was the guy behind the prison arc in the Andor series, the Narkina 5 prison episodes, he's going to be co-writing the Dawn of the Jedi movie with James Mangold. But
so those are besides the fact.
So they don't have a script for that yet either.
There's no Mando in those.
No, definitely not. No, I don't think we're going to see Mando and Grogu again unless they cameo in one of the other shows. But I don't.
That's a mistake.
Yeah,
I feel that's a mistake.
Well, what choice do they have at this point?
Crank out a freaking episode.
But if they do that, then the movie will be 2 years away. And I think that this is the movie they're banking on bringing Star Wars back to the big screen with.
You cannot ignore the characters like this for 3 years.
I do not disagree, but my last one is they dropped a bomb the other day that this Tales of the Empire is premiering on May 4th. 6 animated shorts. It's focusing on Morgan Elsbeth and Barriss Offee, and Dave Filoni created it, supervising director and executive producer. So we knew that there were more Tales of the Jedi shorts coming, but this Tales of the Empire was, for me at least, came out of left field.
That was,
and there's a trailer out for that now. So
let me ask you this: going back one topic, could they shoehorn in a Boba Fett season and throw 3 Mando episodes in there?
It takes a year to make any of this stuff. So unless they're working on it already,
it does.
We don't know what they're doing right now.
That's what I'm saying. They're being a lot tighter-lipped about what's going on.
I'm just saying, unless they're already actively working on that, there's no way.
I will say, with new stuff coming out, I bet we're hearing less of what's coming later. Okay? I bet they're being a little more tight-lipped about what they're also working on, because they don't want to overshadow. We don't want people like, we want buzz around the stuff that's coming out, not around what's going to happen later.
They'd be smart to not do that and not announce every movie and every director and all that bullshit.
I don't. But I just, and you know me, I'm the optimistic one. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I think that Bob Iger came back in and he kind of put his foot down and is forcing them to right the ship. But
and said the one thing is working, we're going to put off for 3 years.
Well, the one thing that's working, they're going to take to the big screen and not make it a Disney Plus show.
You cannot leave those characters
sitting in that little shack in the desert for 3 years. So
what they should do, and Bob or Kathy or Dave, John I know is listening. He listens.
Johnny Fabs, yeah.
They should do a potpourri. No, remember what was the Saturday night Wheel of?
Absolutely,
when it was
yes.
McLeod,
I thought that was Sunday night, but yes,
McLeod and whatever
McMillan and wife, McLeod, McMillan and wife,
the Wheel of something.
Yep.
Action. Do 2 Boba Fett's, 2 Ahsoka's, 2 Mandos, and throw 2 Obi-Wans in there.
And even have like, oh God, you lead out with the Obi-Wans and you could move a plot through the 4 of them.
That would be cool.
You could, but they're focused on this new show they've got coming.
It's done, though. I'm saying, what are they doing
it's
right
done,
now?
But it hasn't been released yet. And then they've got the other show coming at the end of the year.
So between June 4th and then when Skeleton Crew coming, we don't know.
We don't know a date yet.
So maybe...
I will tell you by this time... Yeah, like I said...
You're good. So
by June,
we're
going to be talking about something else coming back.
I gotta believe it.
Well, so let's think about it for a second. Just think about it for 1 second. We're getting whatever that new show is that's coming on next month.
The Acolyte.
Acolyte, thank you. And Skeleton Crew this year. And we're getting this movie in 26. What's coming in 25? So maybe there is going to be something. Point.
Well, if season two of
Ahsoka?
No.
Andor.
Thank you.
Season 2 of Andor, right.
That doesn't help us, though. But we're going to go 18 months with nothing.
No, there's stuff. There's stuff going on. They're not.
There'll have to be something. We just don't.
They cannot leave.
They've got to move
characters.
I certainly hope they surprise us with something.
A special, a 2-episode mini EP. You know,
we need a Mando EP.
Yeah, we do. Like right before the Joshua Tree came out, did they put 4 songs out or something?
It doesn't make them enough. They need at least 8 episodes. They've got to do.
They're not making any money on this shit, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I think that's why they're trying to make it a movie.
They got to keep people subscribed too. So
that's true too.
If all of a sudden you get this, oh wait a minute, there's no Marvel series, there's no Star Wars series.
Did you hear what he said, Todd? What? You might have missed it. He said we got Ironheart
coming to keep people subscribed.
Yeah.
Oh, you make me laugh.
So. Anyway, you know who makes me laugh? Fanboy Collectibles. Not really.
They make me
but they're awesome. Wizard of Oz Pops. Somebody absolutely wants those.
You need the whole set.
Need the whole set. Speaking of Star Wars, Hot Toys Clone Wars Anakin.
That's very cool.
To go with your
young Ahsoka. Yeah.
Whatever. Hot Toys Ahsoka. Plus statues. There's so many statues. If you haven't bought a statue, buy a statue. There's something you like. What's your favorite thing? There's a statue.
There's a cool Gandalf statue right there.
Gandalf is very cool.
Okay, maybe not Gandalf, but Gandalf's not cool.
Great,
but buy it if you like it.
Gandalf's not cool.
Catwoman and Batman statue, big giant one. Anyway, they got everything: Hot Toys and Sideshow and Kotobukias and Hasbro's and So Toys. To name something different.
They got it all.
I don't remember Patrick Mahomes being in The Wizard of Oz, but I got to go back and watch again. Oh, wait a minute. Those are separate. Okay.
He's in the remake. Him and Taylor Swift.
That's what it is. Okay.
Check them out, fanboycollectibles.com. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Tell them the Regular Joe sent you. Okay. We're now entering spoiler territory. Go listen to the Stuff Dreams Are Made Of podcast if you want. I did start listening. I listened to that Felix podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not all the way through, but he's a lot more like, yeah, $3 million. No big deal.
Well, I enjoyed, so anybody who doesn't know, there was a...
I was going to say, guys, give a little context here.
Yeah.
Sorry. This is stuff we talked about ourselves. Does the listening
audience
all
be able to follow along? I couldn't keep up with this in the text thread, people. So
one of the hosts from the Stuff That Dreams Are Made Of, Dave Mandel, he was on a podcast, I guess it was in December of last year or January, but I just found out about it. It's called Felix Comic Art, I think is the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
Look it up. If you look up Felix Comic Art, you'll find it. And it's an hour and a half or 2 hours of Dave Mandel basically being interviewed by this guy who he's friends with. So it's an interesting conversation. But
it's mostly a comic art podcast because Dave is a massive comic art. If you don't know who Dave is, he's the guy who bought the $3 million X-Wing in the Greg Jean auction.
But this guy basically asks him like everything that was going through his mind leading up to it. What was his thought process? What is he selling to pay for it? I found it interesting.
I find it really interesting. And he's a little more low-key. He's very interrupty in his own podcast. He was a little more low-key in this podcast, which is good. I like listening to him, Dave. We're fans. We've connected on Instagram. Got to come on the show. But
it's worth listening to, though, even if you're not a comics art guy, which I'm not, but I found it interesting.
Jesus Christ. If we had bought a couple of pages back in the 1979 when we were going to shows and you could have bought them for $100.
Yep, that stuff's worth a fortune.
Again, and I got to give this guy credit. Here's a guy who spent $3 million in an X-Wing. He's got a collection that's worth $30 million between art and whatever, probably. He does not collect because of money at all. And he's very plain about that, and that is the right way to be.
100%. And what I found really interesting, and I had never really thought about it because I just don't even spend time thinking about comic art, but all the things that we collect, most of them, there's 3 or 4 or 5 or 100 or 1,000 of them, and we collect them. these comic art pages, there's one of every one. There are no duplicates.
He said that, yeah.
So it's really interesting when you think about it.
There's 20 of them.
Right. You want one of Indy's jackets? They're expensive, but they're out there. Each one of these comic covers, comic pages, there's one of each. That's it.
And this stuff is going for crazy money.
And
he was mentioning
bazillions of comics, but there's some stuff that's just way more valuable than others. And I would also argue that if you went to shows in the 70s or 80s, whatever, you weren't going to scoop this stuff up cheap. People had cherry picked this stuff really early on. I looked at a lot of that. I looked at a lot of comic art, and it was, the piles of comic art on tables were stuff that are not in this category right now.
Yeah, but you could have easily gotten a Romita Spider-Man page for a couple $100. Yep. This guy's he's got, as he says in this podcast, tons of Ditko Spider-Man pages.
Yeah.
I mean, his collection is, he's got Miller Daredevil covers. He's got Giant Size X-Men #1 pages or covers or something. He's got
here's the thing.
The shit.
Okay. Those original contracts did not specify that the artwork was returned to the artist. Okay. And in a lot of cases, that stuff was destroyed. It just wasn't saved. So there's a lot of stuff out there. A lot of that early stuff, the pre 68 stuff that just doesn't exist at all, which makes the stuff after that worth that much more. But there's people that talk about going to work at Marvel and being told to as artists and being told to practice and being given pieces of artwork to practice on the back of. It's like I said. So there's
cool stuff out there.
There's a lot less of the really great stuff than you would think.
So I don't know how I segued to that, but anyway.
You got there because you mentioned spoilers, and you were like, if you don't want to listen to this, go listen to that. And then
I did. See,
we went down a tangent.
They just did another live show talking about auctions. Boy, these guys are. What they get? He bought the Taylor astronaut suit.
Which one did? Dave.
Dave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, paid $11,000 for it. That's a really good deal.
Yeah, that went cheap. Relatively, comparatively, it went cheap.
Yeah, exactly. All right, 3-body problem. Now spoilers. Now go do whatever you want to do. Because we're going to... Okay, so we all finished 3-body problem, which now, having not finished the book, and you said last week that they only got through a portion. Where do we think they got to in the book?
I think they've... Okay, so going back, I rewatched the last episode. I think they finished the book. They changed things significantly, okay? But they're essentially at the point of the end of the book.
Which is what I thought, because that's what I read that the,
right. They're essentially
the
showrunner
at the end of the book. Said that's what they did, but I know
they just compressed a lot, and they moved. They shifted things around so much that it was hard to find that point. The other thing is the whole kind of Earth being encircled thing is not really in the book. And it's more...
What do you mean circle?
Well, like that kind of like...
The eye in the sky thing.
The kind of thing that goes all the way around the... I actually had a little problem with that because I think that is a concept from another really, really good book, having it be a visible thing like that. And Spin by Robert Charles Wilson. And
are you not talking about Under the Dome?
And no, it's not like it's somewhat like that, but Under the Dome came much later and was a different sort of thing. So, but again, they're simplifying this plot significantly. They did get
and they
to
need
the
to.
That's good though.
They did get to the notion of the wall facers, which was really the last kind of third of the book, and that's where I was thinking it had to go further than this because, like I said, they did. But yeah, we'll get into that.
Well, it's interesting because the book obviously ends on a big cliffhanger. So it's a 3-series book.
Yeah.
3-book series, I meant.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're committed. Like, if they're not committed to a second season, we're like, you're left hanging.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
there's
think
no
they
question.
are
And-
fully committed. I think Netflix bought it and said, we have every intention of doing 3 if the viewers are there for the first one. But they haven't publicly announced yet that they're doing a second season.
Which is interesting, yeah, given how well it did do.
It has done well.
Yeah.
I
It was
would
also
be
the most
shocked if
expensive.
we don't
It's also
get
the
it.
most expensive thing they've made. And
Is it? I mean, no offense. I don't see a ton of money
people
there.
said it's the most expensive thing. It's so, in terms
That's
of
odd.
minutes on screen, it's yeah. So
But there's not a hell of a lot to it. They're sitting on the beach with a couple of semi-known actors.
Well, but you know,
I
all
mean,
those
that
video
doesn't make
game
sense.
sequences were not cheap. I mean, there's
Yeah,
a
but
lot
there's
of
not a ton
CG
of them.
there.
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, it you know, this is another thing. Like, I don't know that. Well, I guess it's a big freaking cliffhanger. Like, I got to wait another 2 years to get to like. And I wonder. I don't know where the book goes. Does the book fast forward into the future for the second book?
The second book.
Todd has so much media in his head. He has no idea.
Yeah,
what
I think the
he's-
second
if
book
we're
is
even
going to have a
talking
short
about.
time jump initially, and then a longer time jump. So I think it's going to jump like 5 years, and then it'll advance like 50 years, and they'll be thawing people out. So, yeah. And again, I actually went through and I read a thing that explained who each one of the characters in this version were analogous to, and it wasn't really obvious in some cases, but basically it's more a matter of like where, everyone's plot was reassigned for another character. And so not all of these people have something to do going forward as far as the story's concerned. In fact, some of these people would just, fade into the woodwork at this point in the book, which I think is interesting because they spent a lot of time establishing these characters. I can't imagine.
I also
Yeah,
don't
but
think
they
that
did on
they've
a-
made this for the people who read the book. I think they've made
No,
this
but what I'm saying is
predominantly for people
they're,
who
they're
will
going
never
to
read
shift.
the book.
Barry, the narrative is going to shift to other characters, and I'm saying I think they're going to find a way of moving these characters along and having the other character, absorb the other.
No, I'm
character's
agreeing
storylines.
with you. I'm just saying I don't think it matters if they deviate dramatically from the book because I don't think, unlike Game of Thrones, I don't think you're going to have people sitting here going, "Wait a minute, that's not what happened in the book." I don't think most
No,
people.
but what
read
I'm
this
saying
book.
is if you're going to continue with the storyline, you need to continue with the storyline. It's just like I said, they clearly have no problem shifting around characters, and I'll say like the Thomas Wade character, Liam Cunningham, okay, Davros Seaworthy to the rest of the world. He wasn't that big a character. That character was minimal, but he was hugely significant in this. And
Yeah.
he
See, now they could continue with him. My guess is they're going to take a big jump into the future, and if he does what he says he's going to do, unless they freeze a lot of them. I mean, that's the other thing.
I mean, they
Are
also
other
killed
people gonna
main
freeze?
characters off screen in this. I was surprised we never saw them kill the main woman, the woman who started the whole thing.
I don't think there's any
Oh,
ambiguity there.
Yeah.
It's
No,
and,
but-
who wants to see an old Korean woman, or old
Get thrown
Chinese
off a
woman
cliff?
thrown to her death? Yeah, but it's yeah.
Now was the dude who's the brain? Now was that in the book?
That's in the book.
Now
That's in the book.
I mean, like, it's pretty presumptuous. Like, oh yeah, we'll just take your brain out. They'll put you back together. They could be like, "What are you talking about? I don't know how to put you back together." Like,
Well,
what are
okay,
you giving
but this
us?
is the thing. You're dead, or there's a 1 in a million chance you're going to be revived, which you're going to take.
He was dying anyway.
That's what I'm saying.
I get it, but they were pretty much. Oh, when you get there, they'll put you back together.
Well,
Like as if it's a fact.
I mean, again, spoiler alert. He's not on track. They're not going to find him because he's
I know.
millions of miles off course.
Let me ask you: when he goes and when Wade whispers something to the woman, to the friend, Cheng, when he whispers something to her and then walks away, did you think like he's not really on that ship? Because that's the first thing I thought of. Was like, oh, this was a test.
I thought,
we're going to send him later.
It was, which is they can't do it because I'm like, we have another ship that he's
I
on.
thought it was going to be
That's
the
right
contact thing. That's what I thought.
The contact thing. That's right out of that.
I thought it was going to be. Oh, of course, if we build one, we're going to build two.
Yeah. So,
but the other part is okay. Whoever the aliens are called, they're coming. We know where they're from. A star that's 400 light years away. We're going to aim this 1960s era type rocket and we're going to find their freaking ship. Is that even, and they're like, they'll find us.
Well, it's going to go in their general direction. It's kind of like...
I don't know if you've been to space, but it's pretty big.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you're coming 400 light years, you're going to come in the most direct path.
We sent the Voyager probe out, and it came back as V'ger. So there's just something. It's just like a law of probabilities.
I guess that's where they're pulling it from. Because
it's like playing pool. If you aim the ball towards the pocket and you hit it the right way, it's going to go in the pocket.
But no, you're looking at it. Here's what it's like. It's like I'm in Florida, and you're in the tip of Alaska, and I'm shooting the cue ball at you, and you're shooting the 8 ball at me, and we're gonna meet.
No, it's like you are in Florida with 1920s technology, and we are in Alaska with 2020s technology, and you start driving towards us, we're going to see you coming a lot sooner than you realize.
But they're presuming a lot of the aliens who they don't know anything about. Well, I guess they do from the whole.
Well, if these aliens can do all the things they've already shown us they can do, then they'll find this
and they
rocket.
have the hard drive that, let's not forget, they put people through a spaghetti cutting machine to
get.
It was a bread slicer. Get it right, Dave. It was a bread slicer.
Yeah, exactly.
I like this show. We're making it sound like we don't like this show.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Okay. So again, Dave, it's they're not hiding the fact that this thing is going to them. So the idea is they are going to know this is coming, and they're going to choose to intercept it. They can also be like, there you go, bye. Okay.
Well, they could also now say, well, we know it's wildly off course, but we're going to go get it anyway.
Exactly.
Well, that's probably what
happens in the book. I haven't read that far, so I don't know. Nor do I plan to.
Anyway, besides all I did enjoy it. It made a book that I found I struggled with. A nice and certainly not simple by any means, but told a good story and was compelling.
It took a very complicated subject matter and story and made it consumable by the average person. They took it and they softened it from super hardcore sci-fi to something that I think is almost mainstream.
To follow.
Right.
Almost mainstream.
No offense to you, like you mentioned it before, Todd. There are so many characters with names, Chinese names that are one letter off. You have no freaking idea who anyone is.
Yes. Yeah. And I'll say the genius, Benioff and Weiss's genius in this, the absolute genius, was taking 7 characters who had no connection whatsoever, who basically only their point of intersection was this government organization, this international organization, who found these people and kind of slowly over the course of the book had them converge. Sometimes, in some cases, never meet. Okay, but their work was combined, making them a group of Oxford friends, and that was really smart because this would have been. I mean, if you pursued 7 different storylines, this
it made it very
could
relatable.
Not have worked. And so they did learn something from Game of Thrones. Jack Rooney, John Bradley's character dying when he did, that was a surprise, and I think that was he was kind of an amalgamated character, but that was really a surprise. I expected we were going to see him again in like the video game, or we are going to see it somewhere. but that was it.
They needed to show the stakes.
They needed to show the stakes. The actor referred to that as his Ned Stark moment, which I thought was rather brilliant.
Yeah, that's good.
So
I enjoyed it. I hope it comes back. I hope by the time it comes
too.
back,
I
I still
it a lot.
care.
Yep.
And I remember where they left off, because you're right. It's going to be 2 years till we see the next season.
Yeah, and
hopefully,
which is why it would be appropriate if they fast forward like 5 years or so, they give you a recap, and then they start thawing people out 100 years in the future or something. It's
maybe it's going to be like Rebel Moon, where they're like 2 months later, next one's coming.
Yeah.
Didn't they? I have not been paying attention. I've not been paying attention to Rebel Moon, but didn't they say they were going to release
like in April? I think.
But they said they were going to release the long version first before they released the second part.
No, Zack Snyder just said that for you because
he said that because he wanted like a letter writing campaign to get the long version. But
we talked about it at the time.
Nobody wants it.
The only saving grace might be that the long version actually helps you appreciate the movie better. Like I didn't think it was all that good. So
again, what Dave said, no one believes that, but you, Barry.
Yeah, I guess.
if you got to go back to the well to make what you released originally for a mass audience understandable for a much significantly smaller audience, you're failing.
That's his forte, though. There is a Kickstarter to get that director's cut, Barry. All it is $30 million you have to kick in.
Oh, is that all?
Make it for you.
All right.
You and one other guy.
And then Zach will come to my house and show it to me. Yeah, okay.
He's just going to act it out with G.I. Joe.
Maybe like puppets.
Hand puppets.
Yeah, hand puppets.
Yep. Yeah. I read an article the other day that Sophia Boutella there was very upset over all the backlash over the show, and that people aren't so unhappy with it, and so on and so forth. And I'm just like, part of me is, you got a paycheck, and B, they hyped the living shit out of this thing. Okay. Somebody at some point had to realize that this was not going to meet expectations. So stop saying it's the greatest thing since forever. And
well, but you're not in promotion. That's what you do.
But I'm saying, how do you not look at this thing and not have some inkling of the reaction that 90% of the public was going to have to that?
But if you didn't hype it, then even fewer people would have watched it.
I think it seems a kind of an MO of Zach. Like, it's going to be the greatest thing ever. Like, I'm sorry.
And if they had done this in such a way where they had just been like, this terrible thing happens, and then it's like, honestly, I would have been better with them being captured and then it being end of chapter 1, okay, and leave it on kind of that cliffhanger, then be like...
For the life of me, had no idea what happened.
But this is what I'm saying it's like...
2 hours of putting a team together so that they could be ready for the next movie.
And then they get betrayed.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Then they get betrayed.
I do remember that. That's as much as I remember.
Go through a great deal of effort to kill the bad guy, but don't actually succeed. And so... I'm saying it probably would have been better off to have them betrayed and end a la, Empire Strikes Back, and be like, and then have that be where they go for the next one. But they did a bunch of world building, introduced a bunch of characters, and then went nowhere. And I'll watch the next one. I mean, I'm curious to see but if the next one is markedly better, they should have released them a lot closer together.
Let me ask you this, though: if they released a 4-hour cut, will you watch that?
I'm not going to give 4 more hours of my life to that story.
I'm going to watch it, and and I'm going to come back and be like, guys, it's really good. You have to watch it.
But you're going to say that anyways, Barry. You could not watch it.
But wait a second.
Still say that.
I was honest. I didn't like Rebel Moon. I was honest about that. I'm just hopeful that the 4-hour version's better.
Yeah.
Did you like the 4-hour Justice League?
Yes.
Did we, Todd?
No.
I didn't think. No. I didn't think it was useless. Anyway, you know who else is useless? Star Trek Discovery.
That was a segue. Okay, I just want to say thank you. I'm sorry. There's a video out there that I saw day before yesterday that has a compilation of the 19 times someone thanks somebody in the second episode. It is. So, it's like they moved from. We're going to move slightly away from being, diversity and equity Trek to being extremely polite Trek. And now we're just going to apologize and thank everyone for every single thing they do.
And here's my opening statement. Here's my opening statement. It seems like they're desperately trying to pull in elements from good Trek to offset the discoveriness of it all.
But they don't. There's so much emotion. Even the Vulcans are in emotional scenes in this. It's just
no, I know, but between these first two episodes, they touch on so many little other Star Trek things that they're like, wait, people like Next Generation, so let's bring in an android that looks like Data, let's bring in
faux Data. Let's do faux Data.
They're bringing in a storyline
Next Gen
from a Next Gen episode that was everybody liked that episode. I rewatched it today after I finished working.
What happened? What episode?
It was episode. I wrote it down. Season 6, episode 20, The Chase. Those progenitors were in an episode in season 6. And
did the progenitors have any tie to the founders?
No,
they look like them.
They look like them.
They look too much like them.
It might be the same actress, but
is it?
No, I don't know. It could be,
but they look too much like that.
Yeah. So much feelings and oh my god,
But it really feels to me like because they did it with Picard too, right? They tied so many little things in, and everybody loved that, so they were like, "Oh, we've got to pull in."
Get the tying, but there's too much emotion.
But you got 30 years of connection with the characters in Next Generation, so you're sentimental about them, and you feel that. But I would say, I accidentally started because. I don't know why. I brought up Paramount on the Apple TV, and I accidentally started a second season episode. And I was like, I'm watching this, and I'm like, this is a recap? And it was like, this is a flashback? So I'm like a minute and a half into it, I'm like, I am watching the wrong show. Okay? This show is worse than it was. Okay? It really and truly is. And they're spending a crap load of money on this. At the height of the Captain Kirk is the only guy who can actually do anything era, they didn't have him be the only person who was doing anything. And Burnham is the only person that does anything, including
Why would she ever end up riding that freaking ship as it's going through warp space?
That's what I'm saying. But it's like every single thing she does, including which drives me insane. You get all your experts around, and then you complete their sentences for them to prove that you're the smartest person in the room. And it's like so off-putting. And I like her as an actress, and I actually now, in retrospect, like the original incarnation of the character because she had some baggage and whatever like that. But this is now just like, I don't know.
There's bits and pieces that's okay, but there's just too much. There's a lot of.
Have we ever heard the term red directive before, or is that a new invention?
It's new, but I don't remember. It's 800 years in the future, so.
No, but I'm just asking: is that an existing thing from Trek?
No, it's not.
Ever?
It's not.
I didn't think so.
No.
Okay.
The other thing is I know this is the future of the future, but some of the technology for technology's sake stuff just seems ridiculous.
I love how they can take a hand phaser and just magically it becomes a phaser rifle.
That was cool, actually.
But also like A, materialize it, and then B,
and then when you blow your phaser up, you can just have another one respawn in your hand like a video game.
Why not? It's like a matter generator. You have holodeck generators.
Exactly. Program matter is what they call it. But like the idea that like instead of taking the turbo lift, you're going to transport everywhere in the ship, just seems, I don't know, risky to me.
I don't know. I get it. I mean, they're trying to be futuristic. I don't have a problem with that stuff.
I thought the Infinity Room was like right out of 2001, or honestly right out of Invincible. Having a room that's just all white that they go to when they want to talk secret stuff. It was a little weird.
Yeah.
And they're going to bring everybody back. They brought Telly back. They're going to Trill to bring that other guy back.
Well, that's
Like,
the other thing.
Who cares about any of these people?
This is almost like the fact that they constantly go back to Tatooine in Star Wars. They're only going to planets that we've heard of before, which is like, why? There are so many planets in the universe. Why do they have to go to Trill? Why is the other group of people going to Betazoid? Because, like, these are planets we've heard of. Like, just go somewhere.
Well, they're going to Trill to see that guy, whatever his name is.
Yeah. I at least like the fact that they, and you may disagree with me, but I at least like the fact that they have a hot female villain. I kind of like her.
She looks like that. We've seen her before.
She was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She was a night agent. She was in Titans.
And she is the wig from the woman from Ahsoka. So,
yeah, totally.
They were done with it. So
I guess.
Yeah.
I watched this. I sat down and watched the first episode, and I'm like, okay. And then today, I was eating dinner. I was doing some dishes. I stopped to take the garbage out. It was way more palatable with
interruptions,
not full attention on it.
Did you ever in your wildest dreams think that you could take a starship and crash the saucer into the ground?
It was so ridiculous. Okay,
to stop an avalanche?
You've got programmable matter. You can materialize phasers out of nothing, but the best idea,
can't just put a freaking wall there?
idea you can come up with is to use your saucer section as a shovel. Okay,
that was they
didn't just come down to the ground, and they literally plummeted into the earth.
Yeah. And they
I'm sorry.
Another ship
even
into
with
doing
your
it
shields
too.
on, even with your shields on, there's no way that ship survives that.
Yeah, and there's no way if you could take the ship down that low in the atmosphere and you could just hover it off the ground, there's no way the shields wouldn't do exactly the same thing. So now, I will say, it's great that we finally discovered that there is a white male in this version of the universe. Okay, he is an angry white male, so who's now part of the cast. So I think that's just like another part of the demographic that they realized they were missing that they had to reach out to. So for all those
you basically
pissed off white guys who just couldn't find someone to identify with, okay, now they have this captain who is demoted and has to work under a woman who's significantly younger than her and less experienced, and that should just feel right.
But it's worse than that, a lot of people, because they didn't demote him; they forced him into early retirement and then let him come back as the second in command on another ship.
She threw him a lifeline.
God, would they really? If they forced him into early retirement, would they really let him come back as a first officer?
That is so incredibly tone deaf. It's just I cannot believe they did that way.
I don't know. I really could not believe that they agreed to let him come back as a first officer after he screwed up so bad that they forced him.
Yeah, she had another chance. It's what they do.
I know, but still.
Yeah, and she only started a war that killed tens of thousands.
How many
of people.
episodes? You know that guy's dying.
Oh God, yes. Oh,
they're going to basically turn him into the character from the last season of Picard.
Yeah, he's got that written all over him.
He's that Todd Stanwyck with wacky ears
written all over him. There's no question about that.
How many episodes of this do we got to deal with? Do we know?
I think it's
got to be. Well, no, it's probably 10.
It's not.
I was shocked. No, but I was shocked when I went and watched that Next Gen episode today. I forgot that they were doing 26 episode seasons. 26 episods in a season of Next Gen.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. Anyway, all right, enough about this. Well,
I want to touch on one or two other things. I actually thought that the Indiana Jones episode, the second episode, was kind of cool. There were elements of that were cool. I liked those drones that came out of the statue's eyes. That was really cool.
I thought that episode was better than the first one, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to let somebody else do something. Okay?
I know. Your captain and your first officer go down. Like, seriously?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
At least we got to see Saru's ear darts again.
It's his last day, and really all he's going to do for the rest of the series is talk about his relationship. Probably.
I thought he was dead. I thought he was dying.
Oh no, no, they're not going to kill him. there's probably 60 more relationship conversations he can have through the course of the series. They're not going to pass up that opportunity.
But I thought maybe because they set up that he was getting married in the first episode, that if they killed him, that would set up some dramatic tension or drama here at least.
I'm surprised. Doug Jones doesn't want to be on the show, or is he going to be at headquarters?
Oh no, they'll keep him in here. Yeah,
something's got to happen. They gave him a cool nickname. He's Action Saru.
Yeah,
I don't know. I also
what else?
That was meant to be ironic.
Yes, I found it annoying that they found the first of 5 puzzle pieces, which means we've got to go through 5 more of these adventures to find 4 more puzzle pieces before they can figure out what's going on.
What this season is.
Yes, I know.
It's an Indiana Jones style adventure. Next, that was Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now we're going to be somewhere with someone gets stabbed with a chicken skewer.
Yeah,
or
this is also a Doctor Who plot from the 1970s. Okay, with
my final comment. Does everybody need to know everybody? So Book happens to realize that this woman Maul is his friend's daughter because he looks at her and goes, "Oh, age her down 20 years and let me see how she looks young." And she goes, "Oh yeah, I know her." That was stupid. Book shouldn't even be there, and the fact that he's there,
they teased for a second his becoming first officer, and I was like. Oh God! Don't go there! Don't go there!
Just the way that he figured out that girl was his friend's daughter was ridiculous.
Okay, let me ask you this: couldn't you just zoomed in on the birthmark? Because
it's a tattoo.
Because the birthmark didn't change with de-aging the person. Okay, so it's yeah. I don't know.
I just hope in the rest of the episodes they do more super quiet talking. Because I love it when I have to crank the TV up just to hear what they're saying.
I would just say I put a lot of effort into trying to like this show, and
they do a lot of whispering in the 23rd century.
And it's I'm really hoping this season isn't Star Trek self-discovery again. That they actually do something and go somewhere, but
well, the other reason they're going to Trill because that's where that person's
of course they are
significant other is.
Yeah.
But
why can't Dax be there?
Yeah,
in a bathing suit, ready to go to Ryza.
They should just go to Ryza. They should just go to Ryza.
They're going to go to a bunch of planets. They're probably going to maybe they're going to go to all the planets that are everybody's favorite. Maybe they go to Ryza. Maybe they go to Ceti Alpha 4.
Maybe they just go everywhere that people talk about their feelings, because that's what this show is.
Dave, that actually would not be bad to revisit every. You go to the Menagerie Planet. You go to all these places that we've seen all over the years, and
how funny would it be if there still was whatever her name is, Susan Oliver.
Oh, Pike is still
cage because they brought her back.
Pike is still there. Okay,
that would be fun actually if they went there and Pike was there.
Yeah,
the Anson Mount Pike was there. That'd be cool.
Oh yeah,
they won't do that.
With Anson Mount Pike would be there with what's the actress who played her this. She was she was in Alias. God, I can't think of her name. But anyways.
Who played who?
The woman who played Vina in Strange New Worlds was, or I guess it was in Discovery, was, what the hell is her name? I can't think of it.
She was English in Alias? Susan George?
Yes. Something? Yeah, that's who, yeah.
So it was? I don't even remember seeing her.
It was just one or two scenes. But yeah, that would be cool. In fact, I would kill to see that. That would be awesome.
They won't do that.
Maybe they'll do that. Anyway, let's go. What's in the box? That would be a nice palate cleanser.
Show you in the box. Who's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Regular Joe's What's in the Box.
Barry.
Okay, I'm going to go with something that you guys actually saw, because I brought it and I opened it when we were together, but I never talked about it on the show. So this is the Asmus Toys 1/6 scale Gandalf. Especially since Dave said nobody cares about Gandalf.
It's
like,
freaking
an hour
amazing.
Ago. Yeah, this
it's
thing
amazing
is,
as far as Gandalfs go.
As action figures go, it's amazing. Like, this is one of them, and I'll post pictures because me talking about it doesn't really do it justice. Look it up on the internet, but one of the greatest head sculpts I've ever seen on an action figure. It's got rooted hair and beard that are like ridiculously good. He's got a ton of great accessories. He's got great cloth goods. He's got a metal sword. He's got tons of cool accessories. The only downside to him is his wizard's hat.
He's from Lord of the Rings?
No, I love Lord of the Rings. His
Okay,
wizard's
sorry,
hat
mistaken.
is magnetically connected to his head, and the magnet's just not in the right place, and it doesn't sit right. So I have him displayed with the hat off.
Tad weird, yep.
But other than that, and I think that there are people making aftermarket hats that fit the head better. So maybe I'll track one of those down. But he looks great without the hat, actually. So I'm not too worried about that. But awesome figure. I believe it's kind of sold out everywhere. You got to get it on the aftermarket. But I ended up getting a really good deal on mine. I got mine for below retail, so they're out there. But it's a great figure. I love it, and that's what's in the box. Todd, what's in the box?
Cool. Okay, so I love action figures, and I have always been fascinated by action figures, and not even just, it doesn't have to be like what the license is or whatever like that. I love kind of the art and science of action figures. This is the TOA Heavy Industries Synthetic Human Female. So 1/12 scale. This thing has more points of articulation than anything that I own. It is absolutely amazing. You can see on the box here. She also comes with like kind of like an emo wig.
There's a definite ex machina.
Ghost in the Machine. It's not.
She's going to stab you in your chest.
It's not specific. Like tied to anything, but it's really really cool looking, and she's got her wig on because she's just a little bit sensitive about her looks, and it's just so freaking cool. Tons and tons of detail. They make a male version too that at the moment is twice as much. So I bought the female version. She's just awesome, and like I said, every pose you can possibly imagine, and comes with a whole bunch of hands and additional faces and stuff like that. This chair I got her sitting in here I bought for something else.
It is amazing how far the technology's come to make a figure that small, that posable.
I remember when we were amazed by the double joint, the double jointed knees and elbows and stuff like that, and this thing is so far beyond that. Like I said, any pose a human being can do, this thing can do, and it's really really cool. It's expensive. It's about the cost of 3 Marvel Legends figures, but it's if you love action figures, and this is really just super cool. I would love to have something like this. 1/6 scale. Yeah, so that's that. Dave, what do you got?
Okay. I'll hold up. This is the garment bag that this thing came in.
Oh wow.
Heritage Auctions presents Treasures from Planet Hollywood. So in the Planet Hollywood auction, as you can see it hanging here, I won a chimpanzee costume from the original Planet of the Apes, 1968 Planet of the Apes. I know I talked about when I won the John Wick stuff. These auction companies know how to pack stuff. I mean, freaking Heritage. It was a box that's maybe a 20 box, maybe a little bigger. And then inside that was a box. And then there's a ton of bubble wrap. And and the thing with, I only paid $35 shipping. There's $35 worth of bubble wrap. Yeah, I was a little shocked by that.
That seems
But they must
surprising.
have had these garment bags made up.
Yeah, that's great.
That was cool. So, it's... you guys will see. It won't do justice to see it.
So you've got it in hand now. Are you as happy with it as you would hope to be? Is it?
I'm happy, yeah. It's a little dirty. There's little spots. I can maybe spot clean it, but I have to figure out how to display it. I do want to show you the boots, though. They're gigantic.
Oh wow!
Look at the size of these boots. They're like
Apes have
they're
big
like the
feet.
chimpanzee.
Apes have big feet, but I think, as I said, they didn't want to make a bunch of sizes, so it was just like,
But that's like, I wear a size 12, and these are probably a size 10. So they're big. I mean, I guess once you have the pants over, it doesn't look as big, but interesting. But these are in pretty good shape. And there's even, you could see, I don't know if there's definitely a like molded foot in the inside under the fabric.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
and then it's got this.
and I won't say who, but we know you got an apes costume, and we know 2 other people that got apes costumes in that auction. So
Yeah.
our friends were
Can you
well
hold up the
represented
tunic?
in the apes.
It's back there. You see it?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, that's
It's
awesome.
been hanging there.
I see it. I see it now. Yeah.
You want me to bring it closer?
No, it's okay. I'll check it out another time. But
But the sewing is really
that's what I want to see. I want to see what the detailing is like on that.
yeah.
So
The detailing's great, yeah. So I'm happy with it. I got to figure out how to display it. I don't think I would, regardless of anyone's aversion to mannequins in this house, I don't think I would put an ape head on it. I feel like that's a little much. I don't know. What do you guys think?
The problem with this is that it's got shorter sleeves. So
Well, what they wore, what I didn't have is there's an undershirt
with the forearms.
and I think I'm either gonna recreate that. I either will buy it. I know a place that may maybe get it, but for the temporary, I might use like a burlap material that will look close. So I'll do that repro. The other one had like one sleeve, I think,
Right.
that was in this
Yeah.
auction. So
no,
Yeah.
the reason I was bringing that up though is just that if you want it to have a head, then you're going to want it to have ape hands too, and like
yeah, I don't even want that. I don't
you can
want it to
either
look
go
like that.
just display the costume on a mannequin with no head, or try to make
Yeah.
a full-on chimpanzee, and then you're going to have to do hands and the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't think I want to do the full-on chimpanzee. I want to see the costume.
Yeah.
So
No, it's awesome. I can't wait to see it in person.
yeah, it's good. It's it's so funny. It's like, I know we all talked about, I would like to have an original prop from all my favorite franchises. Now, I don't have a million original props. Maybe there's 10. I don't know, but I still have veered off to other things without, Planet of the Apes is definitely on my list. So,
Yeah, well, it's also one of the more obtainable franchises that are on our lists.
it shouldn't be though. Jeez.
I
shouldn't
think it
be,
was
but
because
it's-
this stuff was hoarded. There's a crap load of it, but it was also
But
hoarded
this was
for this.
Planet Hollywood stuff.
That's what I'm
so
saying. They had a big pile of this, and
We see a ton of
You won't
gorillas.
see this again.
I don't know how many chimps we've seen in the past
well,
5 years.
there was one chimp for every in terms of extras. There was one chimp for every 3 gorillas. I read that somewhere.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
That's
But yeah,
Well, I'm
so
excited
that's
to see
what's
it.
in
I'm
the box.
excited for Dave to have another mannequin in his house.
yes.
I haven't even. Whatever. We'll talk about that.
That's an inside joke.
No, it's fine. Don't have the hands. There's no hands. I also don't think a white mannequin would work on this. So I don't know. I feel like I want something where it could almost have the pose, but you see no parts of a mannequin. Like it's more.
Well,
it's
you
more
don't.
sort of.
And that collar goes all the way up the neck, right? So
Yeah, so more of a stand than a mannequin, because even the what you call it one, there's a lot of neck on that. So anyway,
Yeah.
We'll figure that out. Anyway, all right, that's enough of us. Next week, I have no idea.
we'll have a show.
We'll have a show. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.